So let's start at 5. And hello, everyone.
GM. So it's been a while since we've done one of these, circa 7 months. So plenty to talk about, and obviously the questions have been streaming in today. So got quite a few we want to go through, and we'll do what we can to get through as many as possible. Kubo, did you want to start with a brief overview of Basilisk for any newcomers? A bit of a TLDR on recent events before we yeet into the questions.
Sure. So I see many familiar faces. Not sure who needs the intro. Like, can you raise the hand if you need any overview of Snack? So I don't need to like repeat myself. If no newbies here, I think we can like jump to the like recent thing.
Sure. I think I recognize, certainly on my screen, most of the faces.
Perfect. So yeah, let's do the quick recap of last week's. So as we had this like crazy overdue of like delayed releases and everything, we finally did as little MVP as possible with actual release to release finally into the wild. It was also like very close to the slot renewal, which was also successful. Obviously, we didn't want to do another crowd loan to give away more BSX for free. We actually felt pretty bad about like the first slot and how it was that basically the slot wasn't utilized pretty much on anyhow. So we decided to self-fund it. Also thanks to KSM price dumped a lot, and also like much less competition than back in the days, except of sharp competition with GM. But anyway, so unfortunately, some human thing that me and Jakub, we had and few other folks, we had holidays which were booked very long time ago, because it might sound surprising, but we also have families which is like who are desiring or requesting some time to spend with them, not just with Hydra and Basilisk.
You mean we're not just robots?
Yeah. So now we finally then when we came, there was a big gathering at Cambridge with leaders from Parity responsible for building some specific components of Dotsama stack, like XCM, RAM, the substrate itself, and others. Plus with other CTOs from several leading teams of Dotsama, and we were discussing how to move forward ecosystem at the technical way. So what should be the shape of XCM v4 and all other primitives. So all other developers who will come after us or who are already here will have much easier life and much more advanced stuff available to build more exciting use cases. And as prior to that gathering, there was also like 1 month course led by Gavin and other parity folks for Rust, and mainly teaching how to build stuff with Substrate. There was also a job fair for us and for the students to see if there is some match. There was like crazy amount of like extreme talent, incredible or like very impressive CV. So after that, we came back finally, and we regrouped. We looked at like what needs to be fixed. There was some issue with collator set, not just with the community collators, but we had some issues even with our own collators. That issue should be like resolved finally, and we are focusing this week and next week for adding router, which we also a little bit underestimated, but for better. The previous more simpler version of router was leaving dust in the wallet, and it wasn't actually as optimized as we'd like to. The thing why the router is important is like, if you will think about it, the router actually with our palette, which is allowing paying fees in other asset, is like very nice primitive for wallet integrations or for other stuff to integrate with us, which don't have, for example, BSX for paying fees at Basilisk, or even elsewhere that service will be extended elsewhere. So imagine that you want to do something on GM, but from the Talisman wallet, but you are holding just KSM. So through that router and that palette, we can allow you to flex at nightclub or somewhere and send GMs to your friends without needing to holding GMs, because we can convert the stuff with which you want to pay, for example, AUSD or Kintsugi Bitcoin or whatever, to so that we are that's why we this week and next week putting as much effort as possible to router, with finishing off liquidity mining. In liquidity mining, we found there's some bug, so that's push us to refactor and double check, triple check it again, not just in the recent light of exploit on Akala, but like in general. Like we are always trying to triple check every line of code which is touching any assets or any funds. Also, we will be giving to security audit company which is currently doing audits for Hydra. We will also hand over to them for audit some common palettes which are on the snack, but also on the Hydra. So these are the like most recent things for this and next week, with finishing of liquidity mining and then releasing it.
So while you're on the topic of additional features there, we've got a couple of questions regarding features coming up. So one of the questions from Jose around, are we planning to add a history swap or movement swap in Basilisk, so that we can show when the builders are building their LP, trades, transfers, etc.
Excuse me, can you repeat the question, the last part? What swaps?
So are we planning to add a history swap or movement swap within Basilisk, so you can show when they've entered LP positions, trades, transfers, everything like that, all within the app?
History swap?
Yeah, so I'm assuming Jose's talking regarding transaction history, which we do obviously have it in the pipeline.
Yeah, actually,
for a feature of
this is one feature for which Talisman got a new grant or will get soon. So ideally, it would be better to if they already had this, but uh, we will add this to our wallet as well. But this was not like a hot priority for the wallet itself. Like it depends on the displaying. Like if you wanted to have like some like nice graph, that would be probably much more complicated. If you want it as a just like list of past transactions, then it's doable pretty easily. But on the UI side, we actually wanted to add the actual price graph for the trade page, which is also important for the LBP and a few other stuff. Also, router is from bigger part also front end thing.
So you said the magic word, the LBP, which we've got several questions on. So it makes sense to ask those questions now. So in summary, how is the LBP development going? When can we expect it to be ready? And do we have other parties interested in holding an LBP on Basilisk?
Yeah, so good question. Probably those who read the previous announcements about like changing strategy, about like skipping LBP for ourselves, they might realize that, or there was pretty much reason, like the current market sentiment is pretty much it. Probably everybody is pretty much aware that if we like it or not, this is bear market. So we basically put on hold LBP for the releases because we didn't see like past weeks or like past 2 months many new projects coming to ecosystem, but this is changing again. So there is like new wave of new cool projects. So probably time to pull it out. But LBP is also pretty much relying on the router. For example, because like from our experience from Hydra LBP, it was like very nice UX that people were swapping like whatever for HDX because the router on the balancer route them to the HDX, even as there was just like only pair with HDX, which was only pair currency, which was in the time and still is DAI. But people were aping to HDX in Wrap Bitcoin, with ETH, with whatever. So
all eyes on the router for now.
Also timeline after router, yeah.
So we've launched in recent weeks. You've done a bit of a summary on recent events. Got some questions here around your thoughts on the performance since we've launched, and also sort of what do you think are the best, most valuable lessons we've learned during this launch period? What's been most useful, especially as we look to forwards at the launch of Hydra?
Performance in what sense?
In all senses, just since we've launched Basilisk, what have you been pleased with that has performed? What have you been less pleased with? And what do you expect from Basilisk in the coming months in terms of sentiment?
Okay, because I didn't know if the question around performance was more about like scalability or price performance, or I don't know, maybe performance of some team members. Yeah, so it was after like months of hate, which was like and FAT, which was like totally reasonable that we got it. It was great to see like pretty much like turn of sentiment and reading very nice and cute feedback from people about the product. So I think it like helps internally a lot. And yeah, like we we can't stop here. Like actually, like I'm not I'm not super happy that right now we are like a little bit stalling, but that was because of the many company holidays which people had to take because like last 3 months were extremely hectic and stressful. And, like most of us were working every day, a lot of hours. Like luckily we are not France based, otherwise unions would kill us. But yeah, this a little bit slow us, but for better to relax and to gain new energy, which we are already using. So I'm not sure if it's a question for the performance. Like, for example, like funny thought on price performance. When I'm looking at the graph, it looks like someone is learning market making on BSX, which is cute. That's nice. Or I don't know, someone is maybe learning arbing a little bit. There
Yeah,
was
I've
some
seen lots
folks
of comments.
yeah, there were some folks doing manual ARPs against Kraken, which is unfortunately turned off without any specific reason. Uh, that was yeah, that was like crypto prehistoric when people were arbing Bitcoin on various shady exchanges just manually. But I think the last time it was 2013 or something like that.
And what would you say is the most valuable lesson we've learned from this launch?
Oh, like the, it push you the launch of something like this, like where there are some like any funds at risk, uh needs it like push you to think twice or maybe more about every detail, every small detail. Mm. Or I don't know if like other DeFi founders or people are thinking about it, but I'm expecting pretty much same. And yeah, and like it's you need to expect the worst, but try your best. And find also the team needs to be like cultural fit because there was some like we were restructuring front end team like few times, and it's like it was always surprisingly bad experience. Uh, so yeah, to double down on team, especially on folks who are with you in the hardest times, and people who are just like pointing on other people's and what is not working while their output is shit. Probably that's like yeah, best lesson from like past months. Really like I realized that that was like the most common red flag with all these guys. But I seen it elsewhere. Like it's pretty much in other projects and other companies, even outside of crypto. Uh, Especially politicians are best at it. Like it's when you see some people who are great at calling out others, but you don't see much output from them. Uh, that's like huge red flag. So things like this, probably also that you can't uh, trust many people, even even as you want. So I don't know. There was like many lessons from it.
Absolutely. So I suppose
Maybe
the TO.
one of the or maybe one of the best lesson which I mentioned at Paris presentation is that you shouldn't expect that people see into your head and that they are like fully that they are fully on board on some idea or on some like feature or like it's super easy to get into like big confusion about meanings or like understanding of like even like small things. So that's my 2 cents on the past weeks and months.
Lots of lessons learned from that that will be valuable going into the Hydra launch for sure. So
Yeah,
in the
sorry, and that's the main one. Like when I was thinking about like how we would be launching Hydra without this experience, like I would probably shit my pants like every day. This was so valuable and so perfect. Like I'm not saying that launch of Hydra will be perfect, but the checklist and everything what we did, at least for the Basilisk, to make everything solid and secure, and what we found there, even after security out, even after like prior security audits and code reviews from some like big names. That's yeah, uh, yeah, like
and in the final
not
moments
for
of
this.
the launch, in the
Huh?
final moments of that launch, we had a bit of a squeaky bum time with the slot renewal.
Oh yeah,
So obviously, in the end, we managed to get the last possible slot, which was self-funded. There's quite a lot of projects now that are going down the self-funded route. There's a question here regarding: do you think the auctions and crowdloan system are going to evolve in the future? There was obviously a lot of hype initially, and some incredibly big amounts of KSM paid for the parachain slots, and that's now dwindled significantly. Do you see that evolving in the future?
yeah, for sure. I had some conversation about it already with, for example, Rob Habermeyer. Like one of the current thing about auctions, what doesn't make much sense to me is like, for example, like Basilisk in past helps to lock like 2% of Kusama supply, or Karura did 5%. If you and then on the opposite side, there are parachains who pay like negligible amount of KSM or like use negligible amount of KSM for getting same throughput and basically same service. So yeah, there are some like I know that there are some ideas how to make this these mechanics more fair. So I heard that there are like some serious thinking about allocating these availability cores, which are like group of relation validators who are checking the transactions and what is the valid who are like validating finality of the transactions. That in future it might looks like that parachains who locked more dot than others, that they will basically have better scalability or like higher throughput than those who achieve to lock very little or as little as possible. That's one thing. The second thing is like allowing to have like longer lease periods, like longer than 48 weeks on Kusama and longer than 96 weeks on Polkadot, which would be also like pretty much interesting. Like I would also like to get slot for Basilisk or for Hydra actually for much longer because those 48 weeks is really like pretty short time. Actually, it looks like 48 weeks, like there's a shit ton of time. Actually, it's not.
Just
The
felt like 3 weeks,
time.
didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The time flies like crazy. So this kind of mechanics would be great. But probably one. It's pretty similar to one of the biggest misconception or misunderstanding around whole Polkadot and Substrate stack, and like I see it a lot, especially when people from other ecosystems are funding Polkadot. Most of them, or like all of them, didn't get it one super important point, and that is that everything what you see right now, or like everything what you are using right now, except a few things on Substrate and Polkadot, or like Kusama, whatever. That's just like one big proof of concept. That's not the final state. And the reason why others are not getting it, or like why is it not like super common in crypto overall community, is because it's like super hard to change anything on blockchains, because like, oh, blockchain, that should never change, and this kind of bullshit. But you need to know, you need to like maintain the code all the time, and change many things, even for like usually for the better. Like no one wants to, or like not many people wants to change anything for bad. So for example, like EIP 159, yeah, it changed Ethereum tokenomics a lot, dramatically, but it's like so superior to everything else, especially to Bitcoin, that like was it bad? Was it really bad that like ETH community decided to do this change? Like I don't think so. Or like there was that inflation back in Bitcoin even in 2018, while the Bitcoin is pretty much most simpler code base on which was looking was looking like most people, or almost most people, and there were still like shit like that. So obviously introduced by other maintenance, but that was also like that had to happen. So so the auctions are pretty much same. Yeah, like they are not perfect, the current version, but it's up to us as a community to come up with a proposal for change, to change it to something much better. And for the self-funding of slots, uh, I I think it's like best what we can see, because like I'm not sure if you saw my presentation from Amsterdam, but like when I was preparing it, or like when I was thinking on what should be a topic there, I realized that the crypto industry, which is like making a lot of jokes and fun from central banks, or like banks in general, or TradFi, about like printing money, that we are not just the same, we are pretty much worse. That there is like this like shitcoin waterfall of new shitcoins all the time coming to market, and yeah, who the fuck should like buying it all the time, especially when many of these projects had valuations in like even like tens of billions. That's crazy. Like who can buying it all the time? Like there is like new tokens coming every day to market. So someone needs to buy them to even like just hold the price. Uh, so it's really great to see that founders are buying it by themselves, because it's like most rational strategy what they can do, especially now when relay chain tokens are quite depressed, or like down a lot. So I think it's like bullish. Like imagine that Avalanche or Solana, or I don't know, whoever will turn off inflation right now, because like they would be somehow secure, but they would not need to have validators set. It sounds impossible in other layer one chains, but yeah, like we can do it thanks to the chain, so, and thanks to shared security. So it's like best what parachain teams can do. But obviously not everyone. Like obviously it costs some money, but right now like it's pretty okay.
Yeah,
So
certainly
some
not rent seeking,
yeah.
as
On the
others
other
would
hand, it
say.
can be for totally free. So yeah, but in general, like it's much more cost effective than dumping, especially in the bear market, uh, like some percentage of supply.
Absolutely. You touched on during that a couple of times around other ecosystems. We've got a question here. What are your thoughts around the lack of DOT and Kusama ecosystem adoption versus the L1s? And do you think long term that'll have an impact on Basilisk and Hydra?
Mm-hmm. So like without any bullshit, the the Dotama ecosystem got pretty big hit, uh, like reputation wise, like pretty much similar, pretty much similar to Basilisk because like there was from Gavin and from Polkadot there were like historically highest expectations ever. Also, like many people from other ecosystems and from everywhere, they were investing in Polkadot, ICO, etc. The like also like OTC market with Dot before Dot was live was like it was like crazy huge. Like that was probably second after Bitcoin. I was like really surprised because we were trying to also like acquire some before it was live. So the expectations were the expectations were extremely high, and yeah, while other ecosystems they were hosting a lot of TVL and a lot of dApps, which to be fair, right now most of them are dead anyway. Uh, Polkadot and Dotsama had pretty much just crowd loans, which were some validation and fun and like raise and like it was mobilizing community a lot. But on the other hand, similar to us, the most of products were lacking, so they were not even like deployed, or like some of the products which were live didn't have much traction or product market fit or anything. So people were disappointed. People were disappointed a lot. Then they were funding Dotama a lot, and then they found their home elsewhere. And we need to just like finish our work. Like I mean, like whole community and like whole parachain, all parachain teams or like all projects building on Dotama and like trying to be just better day by day, and using stuff in which we are good for building better products. For the bridges, yeah, like also when we were started to build Hydra, we didn't expect that there wouldn't be one really good and secure Ethereum bridge out there. Like it's when Nomad hack happened. Like I was on the festival, on the music festival, my most favorite one. Like, and when I just like I wanted to turn off my mind, but when I was waiting for switching one DJ for another, I opened Twitter and there was that Nomad hack ongoing, and I got like instantly sober because I was imagining that that would happen when we are live with Hydra, and we were actually planning to use Nomad. Like I had a call with founders a few weeks ago about working together and using their bridge. Nomads founders of Nomad. They are like one of the most respected people in space. They are interoperability OGs. They were building bridges for years, or like they were around this area or around this topic for years, and still it happened. So about other ecosystems or like bridges to other ecosystems, also like many of these bridges they are centralized as fuck. Like for example the Terra shuttle, I heard that private keys from it were held by Doc One. So yeah, maybe some bridges at other ecosystems are have like a little bit better UX, but at what cost? Like it many things in crypto, even like centralized institutions, they are working until they are not working. Similarly to Celsius, BlockFi, and others. Also, there are like people like using Celsius instead of DeFi because they were like, oh, like fees on DeFi they are like crazy high. Like I will do it on Celsius. Like or like I totally get it. Like obviously, even like for me on the peaks, that was like I hate it. I really like. I got even like liquidated from time to time when I was like just too cheap to pay some fees, which is like completely. Uh, yeah, that was like completely stupid. But yeah, as I mentioned, like things in crypto they are often like working until they are not working, and then the loss is much bigger than all nice feelings about oh cute UX or like oh cheap transactions. So yeah, I would be first who would welcome or who would like to see better bridges to other ecosystems, but it needs time and it also needs beefy. The beefy is like kind of sub-consensus or like consensus for verifying grandpa consensus and signatures from Polkadot validators on other ecosystems, especially in Ethereum and Cosmos. That was also, and this will unlock light client based bridges between Dotsama and other ecosystems, uh, and pretty much trustless one, which is like obviously holy grail, and there is like minimum trustless bridges out there, unfortunately. But also beefy, while there was quite a lot of time spent on it, is still not perfect. Like Parity is working hard on it. It's it's working, but from time to time it stopped working, which is not as that bad issue as like having it,
As long as there's no
uh,
funds on it.
yeah, like if it won't be secure, that would be probably like bigger issue. But obviously, like you are expecting that it's working 24/7, so they are trying to fix all minor issues around it, and then we can see finally better bridges at first to Ethereum and then probably to Cosmos and elsewhere.
And on bridges
So sorry for the
specifically,
longer. Yeah.
on bridges
Yes, sorry.
specifically for our product, what other, because obviously at the moment we're connected to Karura, who have their wormhole
Mhm.
bridge, and there's obviously been so many happenings with every bridge going. For one of the questions here is what other bridges are we looking at? Obviously, other than the Holy Grail Snow Bridge, which we're waiting for, what other bridges are we looking at? What other partners?
So I just had a conversation with Moonbeam team, and I was a little bit surprised that actually they have like completely different set of bridges on Moon River and Moonbeam. I would like to avoid bridges with on consensus, like multi-chain or AnySwap or what are the names of it. Uh, maybe they will be, maybe some of them will be like necessary evil for the bridges. We were looking at Fala Bridge. That is from UX perspective, it would be from UX perspective, it would be actually better than Wormhole because they have like XCM router in it, so you will be so you won't need to stop at Karura. Actually, you would be able to go directly, but um, it's not their main product. Uh, that's one thing. That means that every change or everything else what we need, like for example, like if they have only their own ERC20 token registered at the bridge. So then they would need to like update this bridge if we would be requesting other stuff from them or to get through them, and then all the time. So so this part is not ideal. So we will probably for some time we will probably stick to Karura and Wormhole. And hopefully they will include there that similar router for us, because Karura is a stablecoin project, and it's like they have also pretty big incentive to monitor super closely Wormhole. Obviously, we are not super happy about using Wormhole after all the shit show in past. The like not just about the exploit, but even that another finding was even worse. But right now it looks like they are pretty much good.
And while we're on a similar topic regarding bridges and other teams, what do you anticipate being the following sort or the next connections to be made to Basilisk and tokens to be traded as we extend out from our initial pools?
Yeah, so good question. So at first we will be adding pairs, which makes sense most, or like with like high quality projects or good projects in the ecosystem, which don't have like super high liquidity, which is almost no one. So Kind from Kintsugi, GM for sure, Zeitgeist, and then all those few who left, and they are like they have this like tick box of like being like high quality or like good project, which doesn't have like crazy liquidity anywhere else, which is I think it's like case of most, except of maybe Moonriver. And that's one part. I would also like to see, or we would like to see, uh, like legit pairs, like Eat Bitcoin or like DeFi blue chips on Basilisk and then on Hydra, because like there is pretty big DGen community in Dotsama, and we would like to provide them a place that they can ape to good thing in Dotama instead of like going to centralized exchanges or like going to like completely different ecosystem. And after deploying of StableSwap, then we would be supporting the major stablecoins, so DAI, USDC, USDT, maybe Frax. Frax looks pretty solid until until Circle will turn it off. So yeah, but it's I think that's a much bigger risk for much bigger fish than us. And then obviously wrap Bitcoin, Kintsugi Bitcoin, and everything where you stake, eat, and everywhere where stake, eat from Lido, and R eat from Rocket Pool, and all this stuff where it matters. Or if we will go for the like second bridge, or if we will see that what's the like from which bridge there is highest volume, then we will be also like adding these like bridged assets, as they are unfortunately different and not same, so the liquidity is like fragmented to StableSwap as well.
Token side of these connections with other parachains, but what sort of can you see any interesting use cases being developed alongside any of these partners outside of your just standard being able to trade their assets?
Yeah, so allowing their users to pay to perform actions without being annoyed of like buying their tokens, or like do some action one from one parachain on another. Like for example, we will be maybe in the future using Gear parachain for smart contracts. But that would require holding Gear tokens as like big bag somewhere. So rather we can pay for it on the by swapping BSX on Gear direct and just trigger it, right? So, or for example, people bridging to Dotsama from ETH, the bridge can the bridge will see that okay, there is someone going from ETH to, I don't know, to Zeitgeist, but he's going just with ETH, and you would be able in the in between of this way to make a cut from his ETH balance and swap it for the ZTG and allow him to vote or ape to some prediction market. Or like probably one of the most exciting use case for me, if we will strike some nice partnership with any money market, we can host the collateral on the Basilisk, but this will be better use case for Hydra, and then this collateral can be liquidated by protocol on liquidity, which can be like much cheaper and much more reliable solution than like wait or like just then be relying on community of arbitrageurs who needs to
And can
perform.
soften the impact as well, cascading liquidations and whatnot.
Yep.
So we've got a few questions here regarding some of the features we've talked about in the past. Obviously, we talked about the router. Some questions here around, when can we expect, order mapping, or whether we're considering anything like dynamic fees. I think we could sort of pair that together with the question here around what are you most excited about over the next 6 months for Basilisk?
Yeah, good question. The fees, there is still so much to do around fees. So for example, we were already doing some modeling about slippage based fees, similarly what Torchain has. We have some assumption that actually these slip based fees can be actually much better for long tail assets than static fees. So that should come fastest, but within this 6 months, not like in the weeks horizon, but more like months. And then another important AMM innovation about which we were talking from time to time is this time weighted AMM, which has like, I don't know why it has such a fancy name, but okay. It basically means that you will split the trade execution, no matter if it's buy or sell, to like X number of blocks. So let's say that I want to accumulate for next 4 hours Karura token. So every block, or like or some sequence of blocks, automatically you will buy or sell Karura token, which actually leads to better execution over time, and it might be even much more powerful when we will turn on order matching. So we can even like say that I want to accumulate or sell this token next like for the whole day only if it will be matched in the order matching. So you will get the best possible execution ever is like, yeah, pretty much on par with any like brokerage firm or even better. So these are like most. This is not like super I don't know for for how many people is like super exciting or not, but for me it's exciting from two perspective. The one is like making execution or price execution much better. That's one thing, or like much more advanced and professional. And the second thing is like pretty much low hanging fruit uh, with comparison of everything else, especially Omnipool. And also like third good point about this is like actually any of them are requiring two big exchanges on the front end, which I'm happy about it. So for the 6 months, this is something what is like realistic, or like I was I was calling these two as part of Basilisk V 1.5. Yeah, but to be honest, we are heads down and pretty much focusing on delivering what we promised originally. So yeah, I can highlight or speak about like much more exciting stuff, but we would like to do much better expectation management than we did so far. So again, as I said, like we need to master the estimations and release processes much better than we did last year, or like first half of this year, so we can be much more realistic about like what we can promise and what we can release in the reasonable time frame. So I don't want to get any people who like us excited too much again or something like that. That was enough, and now we want to prove ourselves with the boring stuff. I know it sounds boring, like we had pretty much a similar call uh, last days internally, and some of my colleagues were writing me like, "Oh, I was expecting more exciting stuff from you," and I was like, "Oh, dude, like I was that guy who was always for the innovations and pushing new stuff, but like I'm like totally okay to be boring. Maybe I'm old, maybe because I'm older, but I think like right now would be much more cool to be boring and reliable business partner, for example, for Talisman and other wallets uh, that they will integrate us natively. So you would be able to swap tokens in Talisman natively. So you don't need to even like go outside of the Talisman. You can do this stuff directly in the wallet, because like wallet is your gateway to crypto. And yeah, that's like wallet is like ultimate tool for your life, like pretty much similar what mobile is right now for you, that you can like call Uber, you can buy flight tickets, you can do whatever. This like your mobile is pretty much wallet already, right? Because you have also like credit card there, or Apple Pay or whatever. So yeah, the wallet will be like next frontier, already are for some time. So we want to be best solution for the wallet and for any other third party services which are managing relationship with users much better.
So another question from Limo here. He seems to love this 6 month time frame. I don't know if he's dying in 6 months or something, but what would you say is the sort of most important factor that will help Basilisk grow its user base or grow adoption over the next 6 months?
Probably Talisman. And yeah, like it's not just about us, it's about whole ecosystem. Like if other parachains won't be growing, even like dex parachains or like DeFi parachains or whatever, like no, I would pretty much pray for their success, because if they would be successful, it will be more fun between us and them. I mean, like productive fun, like doing ARPs and whatever, and like pushing each other to be better. So it's not just about us. So it's pretty much about the whole ecosystem. It's like same asking, for example, MakerDAO early days, like like DAI or like Maker without like big DeFi ecosystem, so shit ton of other applications from other teams which people love and they are using it would be like useless pretty much. So same with Snack, like or at least for the short term and mid term. Like long term, there are some use cases which we can serve for whole crypto, but it's like too early to speak about it. So yeah, so this is like one of the biggest factor for us is like thriving Dotama ecosystem, and the second is like trying to have best UX possible, which is obvious, but sometimes when I'm like opening shit ton of stuff in other ecosystems, especially in ETH, and I'm trying to do something in these dApps, uh, I'm thinking like, what was the process for such a UI? Is like many of these UIs for me is like they were created for enemies of of the founding team. Yeah, like really, like I was lurking in the rollups like early this week, and it was like I was like, Jesus, why? What I'm supposed to do here? Or like, what's the point of yeah, so UX and the success of uh, other projects or like yeah, other ecosystem partners. Obviously, we want to contribute to ecosystem as much as possible, and we are trying, even as it is not like super visible always because we are not very into these like announcement of cooperations or like being like flashy about that we help to someone. Like no, like it's like natural, like same as you see struggling someone on street and you will help them. Doesn't mean like probably most of you won't be uh, sending to newspapers like announcements that you help such person on the street, right? Because like it's what you are supposed to do because you are expecting from others the same, right? So yeah, that's my 2 cents on our success. So
So
if bridges would be like working, then like our life would be much easier. But until now, there was like lot of these primitives missing. Also, there would be like quite big changes in Substrate API or like how to build APIs for parachains or like how to wrap some like smaller functions to like SDKs or something like that, which was missing like crazy, and that's why we had such overdue with shipping our stuff. So yeah, so we will probably like contributing much more actively to this because when we were when we were speaking with some like top teams like Subsquid or Talisman and others, uh, we like how to improve dApp development or like development in general. We realized that we are getting pretty much into same conclusions. So yeah, that's what is happening right now.
So I've intentionally evaded a subject that we've had a lot of questions about because we've obviously got another AMA booked in a few weeks' time with the Codadot guys around our NFTs and really explaining that. But can you, for the guys who are on here today, give a TLDR of what's our vision for NFTs, what differentiates it from what's out there, why should artists come to Basilisk instead of doing the usual and just going to Singular?
Oh, also in regard to previous question, the one like pretty impressive thing about especially Kusama ecosystem was that Remark and Kodadot were able to onboard to the ecosystem new people from outside somehow and have some like nice numbers about like sales or users on the chain, which was like never planned to be like, which were like never planning to support NFTs. That for me is like very bullish. Yeah, Vicky, somehow like uh, because you never know like from the inside it can look like plan, but you never know what will works for you. Like but if you see that something is working, you need to just like double down on it. Similarly, like I don't know, like so like Google Ads, if you find the right keywords, etc. The if you are at this point, you just need to like invest more to this, and then it's like money machine pretty much until it's working, obviously. Uh, so for the NFTs, yeah, like the NFT code base which we got was more uh, like experimental, or like when we saw some craze about like unisocks. People who knows me know that I'm not like big fan of socks. Like imagine like snack with sock, it like awful. But anyway, but we always love merge. Merge is great. So we were started playing with these like redeemables, and then like one our developer, he he just mentioned that he would like to try to do some like buy and sell of NFTs, which turns out to be like pretty much solid marketplace with offers, royalties, and other features which are not like always available elsewhere. Also, NFTs as DeFi on it got were totally bastardized or like screwed and skewed by whales and via MEV. So like people were front running like popular means or means which looks like attractive, something like that. Then also like the cost for mints were like completely outrageous. So all these other stuff about around like practicality. What we want to bring, for example, with that palette, which is allowing you to pay in any asset plus router, we want to sell, or we want to allow like seller, like both clients or like users who wants to buy some NFT, but on the other hand, also they're like producers to to paid for it and being paid in whatever they desire to be paid. So yeah, like I understand why on like current NFT marketplaces in Dotsama you can pay just in KSM, but it doesn't make much sense to me, to be honest. Me as a like I'm not artist, but if I would be artist, I would like to be paid in stablecoins probably directly, so I don't need to go to some centralized exchange or elsewhere to do that swap. Uh, Also, maybe I want to be paid in ETH, but I like Kodadot UI or features, so I don't want to go on OpenSea or elsewhere, uh, but I want to have ETH. On the other hand, there might be people who wants to buy that NFT, but they are holding in the wallet just a little bit of BSX and I don't know mover token, and there is a rush because like the mint is starting or like ongoing or something like that. So I don't want to go elsewhere, but I want directly pay with mover or I don't know with KBTC. So we want to increase this like practicality of NFT use cases to provide them like DeFi somewhere in the background, so users from both sides doesn't need to even like think about it much, that oh, I need to go to swap blah 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 and then go back, or like many of these like awful or like awful times when, for example, you don't have in your wallet token for gas anymore. Like, I hate it, and probably many of you, it happened like many times, that that dust what left in your wallet is not enough anymore, or all this like crypto UX bullshit, which is like, yeah, it's like complete pain in the ass for the normal users. But even for like, yeah, for any user, it needs to be pain in the ass. And if you are telling yourself or to others that or if someone is telling that no, 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 this is okay, like needs to be like crazy, or like needs to have probably sociopath, or like, I don't know, some guys who like BDSM or something. No, like, we want to provide backbone for these like NFT use cases. Everybody, or let's put it in this way, the features which we were working on all the time, or what we were talking about like pretty much from our beginnings, is basically leading to enabling token economies and higher utility for tokens in like with best UX possible. So we want to abstract all these swaps and exchanges from one token to another because of fees, and because of this, and because of that, and because of like desired people, because of different desires of people, and because of also multi-chain world. We want to abstract all of this to in like both B2B use cases. So let's say like Codadot or others, it's like pretty much B2B use case, but also in the B2C use cases. So for example, like people who are buying something from the marketplace. And the vision for the NFTs, uh, like at least me personally, I wasn't like big fan of NFTs for a long time, while it was for me like legit use case, but it was pretty much like ICOs. Like most of the NFTs to me looks not really like artistic or anyhow. Uh, but when I saw some numbers from MetaMask and other wallets about difference of DeFi users and NFT users, it was like I pretty much felt it, that that would be probably the case. But when I saw the hard numbers, it was like, yeah, it's like difference of like times 20 or something like that, or even more. And then I realized, like, with all this stuff about like reflexivity and memes and communities, the com the you can build probably community much better around some like PFP projects than just token, or just because like tokens are like pretty much abstract thing. But if it's at least some like picture which you are attached to your identity or something, it's start to work a little bit like magic, or it's pretty much like your avatar, like many people here probably, or some of them played uh World of Warcraft or Lineage, or like, I don't know, whatever, and they were spending shit ton of time and money to have like unique avatar. Uh, so it's like it's much you can flex you can flex with these like like people wants to flex with these virtual avatars, or you can flex with them, or you can attach them to your identity uh much better than like, oh, I have 1,000 Aave tokens. Like, okay, and what? But you can like you can attach much better some picture, or some like 3D model of something, of some creature, or like whatever, to yourself much better. So then it like clicked to me, and probably like some of my team members, they had similar thinking much longer before me. And then we were starting to think like what we can do about NFTs more. And as we are not constrained as much by EVM as others, but like the computation or like verification of something might be much faster, much cheaper, or like almost like like almost free. Then you can do like all this stuff like Remark is pushing with like much more advanced NFTs, which can like own something else, or you can like mutate them, or you can like add stuff there. They can have much more rich metadata, so you can use them like for access controls. You can use them for like real life events. You can like, for example, like some use cases which we were thinking about was like some holders of our future NFTs will have like can have like exclusive access to some like specific LBPs, or you can track addresses which are not dumping, so you can drop on them NFTs with diamond hands, with picture of diamond hands or something, and you can allow only those holders of these diamond hands NFTs to buy new LBPs, and founders will kill for such feature because you can offer them a cohort or community which is probably not dumping and they are like long-term oriented holders. So that's like just like one minor use case. Or you can for example, we can for next Amsterdam, like the ticketing, it sounds, I don't know, maybe for some people boring, or I don't know, not very exciting, but I'm like shocked that there is like minimum conferences which are selling tickets as NFTs, and then like iterating about them. So when I was on Amsterdam, I was like thinking about it all the time, like how it would be cool if we would be selling tickets as NFTs. On that ticket, you can have some like spending limit, like for example, I don't know, like 30 euro per day or 50 or whatever, so you will not drink more, or you will not spend more on it. Then these people who were on Amsterdam, they can have like some exclusive access to the LBP of projects which win hackathon on Amsterdam or something like that. Also, like there were only nice and cool people, so I can have I can be pretty calm that when I will call these people on another event, that no one from them is some like idiot. So I can do some like exclusive event in future, and many things like that. So there is, so like TLDR, like NFTs are unlocking much bigger uh, bigger scale of use cases uh, which are overlapping with physical world. And also like most important point about NFTs is that pretty much everything in the physical world is more or less unique, uh, because it's more or less broken or aged or like whatever, or used. So most of the stuff in the real world uh, are much more like NFTs rather than fungible tokens. Uh, so for example, if you saw wallet from the the wallet from Snakeskin, from our friend, uh, and one of the best community managers ever, then like he put so many effort and talent to this like lovely wallet that's for example perfect thing for, it's very much unique, and it's like perfect thing for example for our auction palette that was of which behind was pretty much similar thinking, when some people were reaching out to me that what they should build for some Polkadot hackathon. And few days before I was listening some podcast with Gav, and he was explaining their candle auction. And the podcast was, I don't know, like I didn't like the podcast much and arguments about other things, but when I was listening pretty much first time about like candle auctions, it's a little bit hit me that why is it not used much more elsewhere, that you can like use candle auctions, for example, for NFTs or for like bag of tokens which are not as liquid, or other use cases. So I tell to them so I tell to these guys like you know what, like try to use candle auctions for auctioning of everything like NFTs or like bunch of fungible tokens or whatever. And from one of that guys, actually our one of the best colleagues, like all my colleagues is best, but yeah, Jay Green is like pretty much exceptional, and that was actually his idea to build the NFT marketplace. And it's funny because like he was doing it like he single-handedly with some help from others built NFT marketplace, which other projects inspired by. And yeah, and in the meantime, he and Valerie Klo, they finished the auction palette. So we are pretty much excited about auctioning some nice stuff, mostly those wallets, but also other stuff through our marketplace and auction palette. So there is shit ton of things to do with NFTs, but I don't know. I don't want to dictate to people like what they should do or what they can do. Like I would just we just want to provide them the backbone for use cases they want to push to users and others.
So we're going to have a deep dive on NFTs in an AMA with the Code guys. That's on the 8th of September, Thursday the 8th of September.
Yeah,
We'll
that would be a
confirm.
very place about talking about all possible NFT use cases.
So I've got one really important question here before we potentially wrap up. And that is another one from Limo, which is, what would you say is the best grind banger of the decade?
Hard to say, but for me personally, Solo 45 feed Stormzy 5, or from the same guy, Feed Them to the Lions, or Jaguar Skills Reload That with minimum empathy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
If you need to like wake up yourself during some workout, or I don't know, killing someone, like, highly recommending. Or if you need to like aggressively buy some shitcoin or sell, it's like something what drives you. But not sure how many people here are into grime. So like probably like complete
There will be after the here, that one.
Yeah.
Got another question Limo wanted to ask live on the mic.
GM, so my question, I asked it in a previous AMA and I never got an answer. And the question actually goes out to Kubo and Mukshiz. How long schlong? Thank you, admin.
How long schlong? Oh. That's zero knowledge. That's input behind zero knowledge proof. So
save that for the Chaos DAO meetup.
Yeah, that was internal joke from Chaos DAO. But anyway, if anyone else have like more important question, we have some time.
If you're muted, then just flag in the chat and I'll.
Anyway,
That's amazing.
yeah. Anyway, thanks so much for your time. Thanks so much for your support and patience. So far, it was like very helpful. And yeah, as I said before, we don't want to overpromise anymore. That was like enough. Past year, we are really like into releasing what we promised so far. It's still quite a lot of things to finish. And after that we will get into like more exciting stuff. So yeah, GN, and thanks again. Bye.
GN everyone, thank you.